Hi again, class. As I mentioned in the previous class tour video, I wanted to talk a little more about your semester-long course project. This is something you're going to immerse yourself in from the first week of class until the last week of class, and we're going to start by introducing the species we're going to focus our attention on for our course projects during the week 1 forum, as well as choosing the multimedia presentation tool we're going to do our presentation in week 7. So first let's go to the forums area, and under the Week 1 forum topic, virtual introductions and species choice submissions, let's go ahead and read that description. As I mentioned previously, we're going to do the typical virtual introduction, and here's some general information you can include in your introduction, as I'd very much like to get to know each and every one of you and for us to get to know each other as a whole. But there's a second component to this first week's forum that's going to introduce us to the course project. So here we go. Let's look at part 2, where we're going to upload a brief presentation of your chosen species. The document mentioned right here, the SCIN130 Course Project Guide, is vital to the successful completion of the entire project. Let me go ahead, open this up. And I recommend you open this up, save it to your desktop, and like your syllabus, print it out as well, because this is going to give you all the information that you're going to need to complete this project with step-by-step instructions on how to do every aspect of the project. So first let's look at the table of contents so I can briefly explain some things to you and hopefully clarify, as I know some of this can be confusing. So first and foremost, there's going to be 2 main components to this semester's course project. First, you need to choose a species. It can be an animal, it can be a plant, it can be a fungus, any living organism. That's criteria number 1. Criteria number 2 is it must be native to the area you currently live. The key to this exercise is I want you to immerse yourself in biology to where you live so you can actually observe the organism that you're going to choose for this project. It's going to get you more excited about the project and about biology. I almost guarantee it. You're going to be able to take some of the traditional things you learned from the classroom in your weekly readings and your quizzes and apply those to this particular organism you choose. So I want the organism to be something you're going to be able to observe and preferably get some photos and or videos of, something that's not going to put you in harm's way, something that's fairly accessible, and each of you should pick an organism unique. So if you see that somebody's chosen an organism that you were considering, please try to find another species. I want this to also be an opportunity for us to learn about the diversity. We have so many students that are located throughout the world, and it's a great opportunity to learn about the biological diversity throughout our world as well. So again, 2 important criteria for the choice of your species. 1, that it is a plant, animal, fungus, and that it is native or indigenous to the area that you currently live. I know some of you may like certain animals, but you may not be able to actually have access to them, or maybe they are an animal or plant that used to be indigenous to the area you used to live in, but not currently. So please focus on where you are currently living or stationed. So we're going to have 2 main components of this actual course project. One is going to be a written paper called the organism profile, which you see right here is step 3, the organism profile. It's due week 5. This is going to be a formal paper. We'll go over the specifics in a moment, but you're going to have to write and research about specific components of your organism that you choose. The second main component of this project is listed as step 4, the multimedia presentation. Here you're going to cover different aspects than the paper about your organism, and you're going to present it to the entire class during week 7, or excuse me, you're going to actually submit it to me during week 7 for grading, present it to the rest of your classmates in week 8 forum. So this is where you're going to choose one of 2 multimedia presentations that we're going to discuss in a moment, and you're going to do a presentation, and this is where you'll be able to include any photos or videos that you chose, as well as any stock photos that you may get off the internet. Again, we'll detail that in a moment. So 2 main components that you're going to have in this project: an organism profile due week 5 and the multimedia presentation due week 7. Mind you, this centers around the one species you choose during your first week and post in your week 1 forum. So speaking of, there are more steps obviously than there are quote main assignments. The first step is going to be in the first week forum, where you're going to choose your species and you're going to choose the multimedia format that you're going to present your actual presentation in during week 7 and 8. And you have two options. One is Prezi and one is Screencast-O-Matic. I will discuss those two multimedia presentation options in just a moment. But let's go on to step number 2. Step number 2, the organism profile, summary, and outline. This is due week 3. This goes side by side with preparing you for your organism profile, which is due week 5. Remember, I said the organism profile is one of the two main components of the overall project, and it is a formal written paper. So in step 2, you're going to actually put together a general summary and outline of what you're going to include in that organism profile paper due week 5. More specific instructions are included in the course project guide as you go through. And then, as I stated previously, step 3 in week 5, you're going to actually submit that paper, your organism profile. Step 4, you're going to submit your multimedia presentation, which is going to be done via Prezi or Screencast-O-Matic. That's going to be due week 7. You'll get a grade from me, and then you'll post it in the week 8 forum, where you can share your actual presentations with one another in the forum section. Other things to consider in this guide are going to be citation credit and plagiarism information, and all of these appendices are going to give you more specifics on the grading and how-tos on each of the components of the course project, including the organism profile summary and outline, the organism profile itself, the presentation, and then Appendix D and Appendix E are going to give you information on how to use Prezi and Screencast. Again, you'll choose one of the two to present your presentation in, and this I recommend you play with each of these. Give it some time. Within an hour you should become an expert at using these multimedia tools. They're fun and they're a great way of presenting new information, and it beats the standardized PowerPoint presentation that many of us are accustomed to. So let's just go over things a little more in detail. Section 1 here talks about the overall project description. Again, like I said, the key facets here is that you choose a living organism, and it should be native to where you currently live. And number 3, it should not be a domesticated animal or plant. It should be something that is roaming wild, roaming free, something that you can observe its natural behaviors. And so that just goes on to explain some more of what we're going to be expecting throughout the entirety of this project. So number 1, you're going to observe the organism in its natural habitat, whether that be your backyard, whether it be a local national park, a body of water such as a lake, ocean, pond, what have you. Make it fun. Go out and make it a virtual field trip. Take your family. You're going to be looking for specific behaviors when you are going out and observing these particular organisms, and we'll show you that momentarily. Again, take photos and videos of these behaviors and of the organism. You can incorporate these into the multimedia presentation that you're going to be putting together for week 7 and 8. You're also going to be conducting research about the organism you choose. That's going to be a part of both your presentation due week 7, and your organism profile, the written paper, that's going to be due in week 5. Number 2, the project steps as we talked. During the first week, you're going to submit what species you're going to actually perform your course project on, and you're going to do that through the first week's forum. You're also going to present a couple of facets about that organism, like the organism's common name and scientific name, and why you chose this organism and where it actually can be found in a Prezi format or in a screencast format. Please read the instructions in the form for further details there. Step 2, During week 3, Sunday, you're going to submit your organism profile summary and outline. Again, your organism profile is the formal paper that's due week 5, but the summary and outline is going to prepare you for that paper. Step 3, the actual paper called the organism profile. And mind you, when you do your summary and outline for week 3, it should be congruent with what you're going to be writing about your organism that is due week 5 in the organism profile. As you can see listed here, there are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aspects that you should be focusing your attention on when writing the paper. Introductory and background information about your species, the life cycle of your species, the structure and function of your species, and the evolution of your organism, as well as any additional interests. These topics are going to vary from what you're going to include in your multimedia presentation. The reason for this is you're going to get a broad spectrum overall idea of what your organism is about, and it's going to cover all the facets we're going to cover in the learning objectives for this semester. We're going to focus the multimedia presentation on those facets that are more observable, and hence you're hopefully going to be able to capture some of those observable behaviors on video or photos and be able to submit them as part of your presentation. So please note again that your summary and outline that's due week 3, that is going to be your stepping stone into your organism profile paper due week 5, should cover these 5 facets, which are going to be different than what is covered in your multimedia presentation. So as we see here in the multimedia presentation, which is due week 7, these are going to focus on behaviors that are more observable, because you're going to present these via photo and video and some written context as well in your Prezi or screencast-o-matic presentation. So depending on whether you choose a microorganism, a plant or fungus, or an animal, it will tell you which facets you should include in your presentation. Generally, you're going to have an organism introduction. You're going to discuss the energy or foraging ecology, how that particular organism acquires its energy via food or other means, how it reproduces, its natural habitat, and how it responds to the environment. These are different than what we covered in the paper. So again, make sure you're consistent including the proper facets in your paper versus the presentation. And again, that presentation is due week 7 for grading, and then you will share them with each other in the week 8 forum. Again, when we're dealing with any written or photo or video components that are not your own ideas, your own photos, your own videos, you have to properly cite them and reference them, whether it be in your formal written organism profile due week 5 or your multimedia presentation due week 7. This gives you some more information. Please make sure you read that, as APUS takes plagiarism very seriously. Next, you'll find a general outline of all of the grading rubrics for each assignment, from the organism profile summary and outline to the organism profile to the presentation. Under each of these appendices, you will see further instruction on how to complete the assignments, and typically you will also see a bunch of attachments that are wonderful resources to help guide you in the production of each of these assignments. They'll give you tips and guidelines, the grade sheet that I will use to actually formulate your grade, and any outside resources that may help you in reference and citation, etc. So check out all of that. And the last 2 appendices are going to give you step-by-step instructions on how to use Prezi and Appendix E screencast. Read through that, find out which one you like best, and that's going to be what you utilize for your multimedia presentation tool, and you're going to use that during your week 1 forum. So that is the overview of the course project. I hope it helps you understand where we're going with this, and I really hope you guys end up enjoying it. I think you will. It's been a really great project so far in our previous classes, so go out and learn about biology, but enjoy biology. Cheers. We'll talk soon.